Frontera Rock.
Amigos de Frontera Rock, estamos el día de hoy de lujo porque estamos con una visita muy interesante. El día de hoy uno de los músicos más importantes del rock, del glam, del sledge rock, de todo este hard rock que hemos conocido desde muy chicos. Estamos con el gran músico Rachel Bolan, que nos acompaña el día de hoy en Frontera Rock. Rachel, thank you for being here. I'm Ricardo Klein. Thank you for being in Frontera Rock. Welcome.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure.
Well, Rachel, in Frontera Rock, we always like to start by exploring the artist's origin and their first connection with the music. Could you tell us a little about how you fell in love with music and what inspired you to pick up an instrument and start playing? Do you remember that moment?
Yeah, I'm the fourth out of four kids, and so everyone always had their own style of music on their turntable, you know. And out of one room, I heard the Beatles. Out of another room, I heard like Carly Simon and James Taylor. And then out of my brother's room, I heard Jimi Hendrix and Chicago and Miles Davis. And I used to go in a record collection and listen to all of them. And then I started buying my own records and, you know, Alice Cooper and Kiss and Ramones, you know. And so that started shaping me as, you know, a fan of music. But I mean, my parents listened to music all the time. You know, they listened to a lot of like show tunes and stuff like that, you know. And so there was always music around the house. But it was when I saw Kiss for the first time at about 11 or 12 years old, I came home and that's when I knew I wanted to play bass like Gene Simmons. And that pretty much changed my life. And my parents got me a used bass for Christmas, and I cherished it. And I just took lessons and learned what I wanted to learn and what I wanted to get out of it, and started to listen and teach myself by ear, listening to like Deep Purple records and Ramones records. And I've been doing it ever since.
Okay. So we didn't start with the guitar, you start with the bass right away.
That's correct. Yeah, started with the bass, and then I picked up guitars watching friends play, and I picked it up afterwards.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes there's a bunch of guitar players in the band, and say, you take the bass.
yeah, you take the bass. It's you stink on guitar. You better play bass.
but you started with the bass just because you saw Gene Simmons, the Devil, playing and blow your mind, and that's it.
Yeah, I really didn't even know what a bass was. I just wanted to do what he did, and then I realized how much I really focused on the bass parts of songs once I started learning it. Like people like Dennis Dunaway from Alice Cooper's band, and Roger Glover from Deep Purple, and Paul McCartney, of course, and Graham Maybe from the Joe Jackson band. As I was getting a little older, and it was just, that's where my ear automatically went, and they pretty much taught me how to play bass unknowingly.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because I am sometimes all the mix of you heard when you're a child shape you as a musician, right? So
absolutely.
You spend most of your career, Richard, creating music from the perspective of a bass player. So, and not many bassists choose to make a solo album that feels this personal. Do you think that playing the bass has shaped the way you listen to music and ultimately the way you write songs?
Sometimes, because I don't always write on bass. It depends what's in the stand closest to me. Like right now, it's like there's a bass there. So if I had an idea, I'd pick that up and play it, even if I strummed it like a guitar. But I mean, once the song structure is there, I as we're writing, or as when I'm writing by myself, I could kind of hear what I'm going to do as a bass line. and how I'm gonna make parts move, because I think it's really important for, and this is the advice I always give bass players if they ask me, to give them advice. I'm like, just know when to shine and when to get the hell out of the way. You don't want to step on a melody. You don't want to step on a cool guitar riff. You just have to know this, because you're kind of the anchor man in this tug of war between the guitar, drums, and vocals. And you just have to know when to play and when not to.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, listen to this album. I had a feeling that it isn't trying to reinvent you, who you are. It simply reveals another side of you. What do you hope the people discovered about Rachel Bolan after listening the Gargoyle of the Garden State?
Just what you said. It's just another layer of my creativity and my music. When I wrote this, I wrote most of the songs on my own, except for two I co-wrote and then did one cover. And I played all the rhythm guitars, all the bass, the acoustics, and two of the solos, and didn't play drums. I left that up to the professionals. and all the good solos are all the professionals, Okay. I sang a lot of the songs. So this album is me. If you don't know me personally, just listen to this album and you'll know my whole musical background when you listen to this record.
Yeah, and it sounds very some punk, some heavy, some all the stuff that you already mentioned that shaped you as a musician. You can hear it in the record. So after writing songs for many years, experience can become both an advantage and a challenge. How do you keep surprising yourself creatively instead of relying on what you already knows works in the album?
Well, with Skid Row, we've been around for 40 years, so I like to believe we know what our fans expect out of us and the type of music they expect. Sometimes you could do something a little different and it gets well received, or you hear about it that they don't like. But with my solo stuff, this is my first solo record, so I was just kind of throwing away all the guardrails that I had when I was writing not for my solo record, and just whether it's a riff or subject matter, whatever, I knew that none of these songs would fit for Skid Row. So that was my approach to the whole thing. It's just not to just forget everything that I've been doing for the last 40 years and just let go, and trust yourself. And Nick was Rasky Linux, who produced the record. He was instrumental in getting me just to trust myself, just let go, don't think about anything, just write songs, and everything's going to work out.
Okay. So Rachel, rock music often celebrates artistic evolution, but sometimes I think the most interesting evolution is the person behind the songs. Do you feel you're writing differently today because you're a different songwriter, or simply because you're a different person, or as a grown-up or something?
Well, yeah, the way we used to write, we were in our 20s, so 40 years ago, you kind of have a different perspective on things. Lots of life came in between, we've all been through, divorces, and we've moved about 100 times, so you get this life, you get wisdom, you get experience. We traveled the world, I don't know, maybe 100 times. We've gone around to different countries and just experienced so much. So your perspective isn't always going to be that it can't always be that kid that could barely afford to pay the rent, that has just enough money to get for gas to get to rehearsal and back, but nowhere else. So you're going to break down. So it's not like that anymore. So your perspective changes. So therefore, me personally, my approach to songwriting had to change with it, because we can't, if I want to be honest in what I'm doing, I could either reflect or just be in the moment, you know? And that's how I approach songwriting.
Yeah. There's no 18 anymore, right?
No, 18 is way behind me, man.
Yeah, and you say, well, you have kids, you have a wife, you have a relation, and you need to pay the rent, you need to pay the bills. So it's a different perspective. But sometimes, you know, people stuck in the past, and sometimes you say, I wanted that teenage spirit, but you need to talk about, as a songwriter, I think you need to talk about your present, your context, right? So
yeah, I would think so. You know, you could, like I said, there's moments where you can reflect and talk about how it was, but you can't sit there with a 20. I wouldn't be able to sit here and write from a 20-year-old's point of view.
Yeah.
Because a 20-year-old now is so different than when I was 20, you know? And so I could reflect on back when I was 20 and write about that, but I'm not going to try to write something, you know, where I can't relate to a 20-year-old. I hope my music does, and maybe they could, but that's the beauty of music, right? It's like, people could, I know my interpretation of any song I hear is probably a little different than yours, and a little different than everyone else in the room. That's the beauty of music. So reflecting and writing about it is one thing, but not, you can't be 62 and write as a 20-year-old because it's just going to sound dishonest and disingenuous. You know, but you push yourself. I like to push myself, songwriting. I like to push myself to try to explain what I'm thinking in my lyrics, and that's kind of, that is definitely what I did on my solo stuff.
Yeah, and that songs that you wrote in your 20s, there's people right now in their 20s that identify that song and feel it, right? When you're playing right now with Skid Row, and you saw the in the front row, I think you see a different the mixes of the ages, no, 40s and 20s and 60s and everything, and they are identified with that music right now, right? And our age, we're gonna identify with your present work.
That's great. Yeah, it's really cool to look out in a crowd and see maybe parents bringing their kids, or an older brother with his little brother, and then, you know, their kids or whatever. And I always, it always blew my mind when I went to see Kiss and saw how their music transcended generation after generation after generation. And I'm like, I hope we could do that one day. And now we see it, and it's pretty damn amazing watching an 18-year-old or 17-year-old singing every lyric of our show, every song. I'm like, wow. And some that I meet, I'm like, where did you hear? My parents saw you guys in, you know, 89, and I always heard it, and I love, you know, it's stuff like that. And that's such a big payoff to know that your music is relating, like you said, with people so much younger than me, you know, that were my age when we wrote the songs.
And that song's gonna be for eternity.
Timeless, right?
Yeah, it's timeless. So Rachel, some artists or some musicians spend their careers constantly reinventing themselves. Others spend their lives exploring the same artistic identity from different angles. which one do you think describes you better?
Well, it's a very delicate balance, because I don't want to just be stuck, for lack of better terms. I don't want to be stuck just writing the same stuff every single time. I like a little bit of reinvention. We have done that over the course of our career, like just comparatively the sound of the first record to the second record to the third record sounds like three different bands, you know. I like that. Now it's like you have to learn at points, like I had said earlier, what the core, you know, Skid Row fans like to hear and what they expect out of us. So it's a really delicate balance to reinvent without losing sight of your roots. And that's what on our last record, Gangs All Here, that's what we did. We retraced our steps to remember what Skid Row was like in the first place, but to sound relevant and not to just sound like we were regurgitating the same music over and over.
Yeah, and I think the audience appreciate that, because you are reinventing. You're the same person, you know.
Yeah.
But like you said, your reason, you're grown up, everything. You have experience, and that's the beauty of the music, because you keep all together. So that's very interesting. Rachel, when you look 20 years into the future and listen back this album, the Gargoyle of the Garden State, what do you hope it reminds you of?
I hope it reminds me of all the fun I had with the whole process of writing, of the whole creation of it, the ideas for like, you know, the album artwork and getting together with the photographer for it, and the whole process of creation. I just want to remember how fun that was and how satisfying it was just to be involved with every part, you know, because and I'm not a control freak by any means, because I listen to opinions and to other outside ideas. I just love the creation, like to create stuff, and I can't stop sometimes. And it's, I drive some people crazy. I know I drive the guys crazy, where they're like, "What are you thinking? What's going on in your brain?" And so yeah, I want to remember all the fun that I had doing it and how satisfying it was.
Yeah, actually, you had some guests on this record, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about this great musicians that you invited to this great album.
When I got signed, we were putting the deal together. I was just thinking about how monumental this was to be this far into a career and putting out a solo record.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, I want to share this fun and this moment with all my friends. And so everyone that was involved with this record, from producer to co-writers to all the guests that were on it, were friends of mine. And you know, I called them and said, "Hey, do you want to do, you know, Damon Johnson, I've known for so long, and I'm like, do you want to play some solos on the record?" Because he actually played solos on the demos for these years ago for some of the songs.
Okay.
And he was in Nashville at the time, so he came to the studio and he did it. And then same with you know, I asked Rob to play drums on it. He played drums on the whole thing. And then Snake and Scotty contributed a solo to a couple songs, and Nuno and Corey Taylor and Danko Jones and Steve Conti, who's an old friend of mine. And so everyone that was involved, including my friend Matt that came in and sang harmonies, and Ryan and Paul Taylor, you know, everyone involved was a friend of mine. I co-wrote with people that were friends, so it was just it. I don't want to say it was like a big party because that kind of cheapens it, but it was just such a great experience that just proved to me once again I got really cool friends. My friends are awesome, man.
Yeah, maybe a celebration of friendship, right? Could be.
The what?
A celebration of friendship. Maybe.
Absolutely. Yep.
Because you became with your ideas and you ask them that you want to be part of it, and they accept, and that's a really interesting relationship and a friendship, and I think it's a celebration because when somebody participate in a project, I think it's love, it's a friendship, you know.
Yeah, you know, when they creativity and you know, some of these guys had really busy schedules too, and for them to do it and kind of drop everything, you know, they could have taken a day off on the road when sometimes, you know, you just need a day off, but instead they did this for me, and it just I could never express my gratitude to everyone involved because it really meant a lot to me.
I can figure it out. So that's great, and that's if the people hear this new record, gonna be a very good mix of the great musicians as you are. So Rachel, after everything you accomplish, what is that still makes you excited to pick up an instrument or a pen and write and create something new and then play in the stage?
I think it's the satisfaction of just well, one, not having a day job, but two is you know, going out on stage is such a rush still to this day. Like, I love it. I miss it so much because we haven't played in almost 2 years. Well, actually, yeah, it's been 2 years since our last shows with Lizzie Hale, and so just I'm looking so forward to doing that again because I've been doing it since I was a kid, and it's part of my life. It's part of the fabric of my life, you know, and creating songs is so satisfying when it goes from just a little riff idea to a full song, and then the next phase, next thing I know, I'm holding the vinyl with the song I wrote on it, and it's awesome. And I love that so much, and that's what keeps me going is the actual art of everything and the creation of everything. Okay, Rachel, so there's any possibility of you touring with this I would love to. Yeah, that's the objective. I have some guys that are up for doing it. It's scheduling and logistics because some of these guys are in other bands, so I have to have like a whole bunch of backup plans. You know.
Okay, because well, you like you said, you're kind of in a pause, and all the process with the Skid Row that we already know about this vocal everything, and you have many requests. I saw that, so that's interesting, and it's a lot of work. But well, we hope to watch this album in live. We love to see you play in live your music. Are gonna be interesting. So we hope you can make maybe a little tour, maybe in Mexico. We don't know, but maybe.
I would love to. I love Mexico. I haven't been there in so long. I love going there.
Rather than with your solo album, and also with Skid Row, we love you here in Mexico. So Rachel, I really appreciate this time, and I know you have a very packed schedule. So if people want to listen or you follow in every platform, they can find this new record in every platform, right? In every
Yes.
streaming.
Yeah, you could find it on my personal Instagram at official Rachel Bolan. I have the link in my bio. Skid Row has a link in the bio. Your music you get a link through their YouTube channel. Yeah, so it's everywhere, and you can get it digitally, you can get it on vinyl, and you get it on CD. So
Okay, so maybe it's too short, but you have a bunch of music for another record, or just...
I do. I have been writing. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
starting to stockpile songs. So yeah, I'll be ready when the time
Okay.
comes.
Okay, maybe gonna be a next solo record for Rachel Bolan, right?
I would love it.
Okay, Rachel, well, thank you so much for your time, for sharing your thoughts with us. It was a really pleasure talking with you. Congratulations for the Gargoyle of the Garden State. It's a great record. We wish you all the best, and we hope to welcome back to Frontera Rock again in the future. Thank you very much, Rachel.
Thanks,
Really
man. It was my
appreciate
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
Just let me say goodbye in Spanish for the Mexican audience, and
Okay.
we're back. Amigos de Frontera Rock, el día de hoy tuvimos a Rachel Bolan, uno de los músicos más interesantes del rock. Nos estuvo platicando sobre este nuevo récord, este nuevo disco. Vayan a comprarlo, vayan a escucharlo. Es la forma en la que pueden apoyar siempre a los artistas reproduciendo su música. Mi nombre es Ricardo Klein. Yo les agradezco mucho el habernos escuchado. Thank you, Rachel, again. And
Thank you.
thank you, everybody.
Frontera Rock.